This tutorial is a complete unit of work that will guide you through all the different types of multiplication problems so that you can work out the correct answer and have a good understanding on why the methods work and what each step of the calculation means. So here's our first question. 24 multiplied by 6. And you can see that you've got a 4 and a 6 in the units column and a 2 in the tens column. So now I'm going to multiply 24 by 6. And I've highlighted the 6 in blue so you can see that I'm multiplying 24 by 6. So 4 times 6 is 24. Put down the 4, carry the 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 2, which you carried, is 14. So 24 times 6 is 144. Number 2, 54 multiplied by 3. Let's highlight the 3 in blue so you can see that 54 is being multiplied by 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Put down the 2, carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 plus your carry is 16. So 54 multiplied by 3 is 162. Let's go on to chapter 2. This time we're multiplying a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. So first of all, I'm going to multiply 15 by 2. And that's why the 2 has been highlighted. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down the 0, carry the 1. Now I'm going to multiply 1 by 2. 1 times 2 is 2, plus your carry is 3. So 15 times 2 is 30. So 30 was the answer to 15 times 2. Now watch what happens. The 3 is highlighted in blue because now we're going to multiply 15 by 3. But that 3 in the tens column is not 3, it's a 30. So I must remember to put my 0 down. We'll talk about what happens if I don't put the 0 down. 5 times 3 is 15. Put down the 5, carry the 1. 1 times 3 is 3, plus my carry is 4. 450 is the answer to 15 times 30. Now, had I not put the 0 in there, I would have got the answer 45. And 45 is not the answer to 15 times 30. Remember, when that 3 is in the tens column, it's a 30. So we must make sure we put that 0 in to make sure that when our answer comes out, it's 10 times bigger, which is what we need it to be. So now we're simply going to add the 30 and the 450. So 0 plus 0 is 0, 3 plus 5 is 8, and 4 plus 0 is 480. So 15 times 32 is 480. Let's do another 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. So we're going to multiply 25 by 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Now you knew the answer to that anyway, because 25 multiplied by 1, when we multiply a number by 1, the answer is the number itself. In this case, 25. So that's the answer to 25 multiplied by 1. Now let's move over to the tens column. We're going to multiply 25 by 4, which is why the 4 is highlighted. Now we have to be careful again, just like the last example. we have to put our 0 in. Because if we don't put the 0 in, what are we going to get the answer to? We're going to get the answer to 25 multiplied by 4. But since that 4 is in the tens column, it's not a 4, it's a 40. And putting that 0 in there makes sure that our answer will come out 10 times bigger. So 5 times 4 is 20. Put down the 0, carry the 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus your 2, which you carried, is 10. So the answer to 25 times 40 is 1,000. And then we just add them together. So 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. 0 plus nothing is 0. And 1 plus 0 is nothing. So that's the answer to 25 times 41. Multiplication, Chapter 3, multiplying a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number. 126 multiplied by 22. Let's first multiply 126 by 2, and it is just a 2 because it's in the units column. 6 times 2 is 12. Put down the 2, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 you're carrying is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. That's the answer to 126 times 2. Now let's move on to 126 multiplied by 2. That 2 is in the tens column. I'm highlighting it in blue for you. Now because we're multiplying by 20, and 20 is 10 times bigger than 2, we need to make sure that our answer comes out and it's 10 times bigger. So we must insert the 0. 6 times 2 is 12. Put down your 2, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus your 1 that you're carrying is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. That's the answer to 126 multiplied by 20. Now we just have to add those two lines together. And your answer is 2,772. 343 multiplied by 56. Let's multiply 343 by 6. The digit you're multiplying 343 by is highlighted in blue. 3 times 6 is 18. Put down your 8, carry the 1. 4 times 6 is 24, plus the 1 you're carrying is 25. Put down the 5, carry the 2. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus the 2 you're carrying is 20. That's the answer to 343 multiplied by 6. Let's now move on and work with the digit 5, which is in our tens column. That digit in the tens column is a 5, but it's worth 50. So we have to put the 0 down to make sure that our answer comes out and it's 10 times bigger than what it would have been to 343 times by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Put down your 5, carry the 1. 4 times 5 is 20, plus the 1 you're carrying is 21. Put down the 1, carry the 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus the 2 you're carrying is 17. That's the answer to 343 multiplied by 50. Add the two lines together, and the answer is 19,208. Chapter 4, multiplying a 3-digit number by another 3-digit number. Let's look at 652 multiplied by 125. So the first thing we're going to do is multiply 652 by 5, and I've highlighted the 5 in blue for you, so that's what we're going to keep tabs on. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down the 0, carry the 1. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus the 1 you're carrying is 26. Put down the 6, carry the 2. 6 times 5 is 30. Plus the 2 you're carrying is 32. So 3,260 is the answer to 652 multiplied by 5. Now let's move on to the tens column. Now you can see we've got a 2 there. It's 652 multiplied by 2, but that 2 is worth 20 in the tens column. So the question is 652 multiplied by 20. So to make sure our answer comes out and it's 10 times bigger, we must put a 0 in there. Without that 0, we're going to get the answer to 652 multiplied by 2, but it's 20 in the tens column. And that 0 makes sure that our answer will come out 10 times bigger. That's why we put it in. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down the 0, carry the 1. 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 1 you're carrying is 13. So 13,040, that's the answer to 652 multiplied by 20. Now let's move on to the hundreds column. 652 multiplied by 1, but it's 100 in the hundreds column. So the question is 652 multiplied by 100. Now this time we don't put 1 0 in, do we? How many zeros do we have to put in? We have to put in 2 zeros so that our answer comes out 100 times bigger. Because that's what the question is, 652 multiplied by 100. Otherwise, without those 2 zeros, you'd get the answer to 652 multiplied by 1. So here we go. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 1 is 5. 6 times 1 is 6. That's the answer to 652 multiplied by 100. Then we just add those two lines together and the answer is 81,500. Let's move on to question 2. So let's multiply 341 by 4. 1 times 4 is 4, put down the 4. 4 times 4 is 16, put down the 6, carry the 1. Now 3 times 4 is 12, plus the 1 you're carrying is 13, and that's the answer to 341 multiplied by 4. Let's now move on to 341 multiplied by 30. There's a 3 in the tens column, but it's worth a 30 in that tens column. So we have to remember to do what? We must put the 0 in just one of them. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Put down the 2, carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus the 1 you're carrying is 10. 10,230 is the answer to 341 multiplied by 30. Now let's move on to our hundreds column. 341 multiplied by 4, and that 4 is worth 100 in the hundreds column. So your question is 341 multiplied by 400. So this time you're going to put 2 zeros in. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Put down the 6, carry the 1. 3 times 4 is 12, plus the 1 you're carrying is 13. So that answer there is 136,400, and that is the answer to the question 341 multiplied by 400. And then just add those numbers together. And that comes to 147,994. Do make sure you know how to read the number. 147,994. Chapter 5, Multiplying with Decimals. In this first question, 3 multiplied by 5.6. So you've got one decimal place because there's a 6 after the decimal point in the number 5.6. So we're going to change that 5.6. We're going to move that decimal point one place over to the right. So we've made 5.6 56. We've made it 10 times bigger. So we're going to carry on in the normal way now. 6 times 3 is 18. Put down the 8, carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, plus the 1 you're carrying is 16. So the answer to 56 times 3 is 168. But that is 10 times too big because our calculation was 3 times 5.6. So all we have to do to that number, 168, is make it 10 times smaller. So to do that, we're just going to take our decimal point back one place to the left. So the answer is 16.8. Let's do another one. So this time you've got 3.2 multiplied by 4. So 3.2, 1 to the right, becomes 32 multiplied by 4. We've made 3.2 10 times bigger by turning it into 32. Now carry on in the normal way. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. That's the answer to 32 multiplied by 4. That number, 128, is 10 times too big. So we're just going to make it 10 times smaller by moving the decimal point one place to the left. So our answer is 12.8. Chapter 6. This time, you don't have one decimal place, you have two decimal places. So we're going to change both of those numbers. So 3.6 becomes 1 to the right, 6.4, another 1 to the right. So we've gone 2 to the right in total. Now, if you make a number 3.6 10 times bigger, and then you do that to 6.4, you turn it into 64, and you've made that 10 times bigger, our calculation has become 100 times bigger. So this is what it looks like. 36 times 64. When we get to the end, instead of moving our decimal point one place to the left, we're going to go 2 places to the left because we need to make our number 100 times smaller. So 6 times 4 is 24. Put down the 4, carry the 2. 3 times 4 is 12, plus your 2 is 144 there. That's the answer to 36 times 4. Let's go on to 36 times 60. Put the 0 in. 6 times 6 is 36. Put down the 6, carry the 3. 3 times 6 is 18, plus the 3 you're carrying is 21. So that's the answer to 36 multiplied by 60. Add the two lines together. You get 2304. 2,304. That number is 100 times too big. We've got to make it 100 times smaller. So we went over 2 to the right. We've got to come back 2 to the left. So there we go. 1, 2. And the answer is 23.04. Let's try this one. So 2.1 and 1.5, what are they going to become? 1 to the right, another 1 to the right, 2 to the right, 21 multiplied by 15. 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10. That's the answer to 21 multiplied by 5. Now we're going to go to 21 multiplied by 10. Remember to pop your 0 in. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 1 is 2. That's the answer to 21 multiplied by 10. Add them together, 315. That number is 100 times too big. We've got to make it 100 times smaller. Your decimal point is on the end. We take it one place over, 2 places over, and it's 3.15. So 2.1 multiplied by 1.5 is 3.15. Multiplying decimals when you have 3 decimal places. So here we've got 3.4 multiplied by 2.62. So let's turn 3.4 into a whole number. So that's 1 to the right. And let's turn 2.62 into a whole number. That's 2 to the right. That is 3 to the right in total. So we've made our calculation 1,000 times bigger. So it now looks like 262 multiplied by 34. So we're going to calculate the answer to this in the normal way, but because we've made the calculation, our sum, 1,000 times bigger, when we get to the end, we've got to make our answer 1,000 times smaller. So we're just going to move 3 places over to the left at the end. So 2 times 4 is 8. 6 times 4 is 24. Put down the 4, carry the 2. 2 times 4 is 8, plus the 2 is 10. That's the answer to 262 multiplied by 4. Let's now go over to the tens column, which is a 3, and it's worth 30. Remember to put the 0 in. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. Put down the 8, carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus your 1 is 7. So the answer, 7,860, is to the question 262 times 30. Add the 2 lines together and now move your decimal point 3 places over to the left. So it becomes 8.908. So you've made it 1,000 times smaller. 8,908, you made it 1,000 times smaller. Okay, let's do one more. 4.21, 2 to the right. 3.2, 1 to the right. That's 3 to the right in total. You've made your calculation 1,000 times bigger. So let's work this out in the normal way. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. That's the answer to 421 multiplied by 2. Now let's go over to that 3, which is a 30 in the tens column. And our question is 421 multiplied by 30. Remember to pop the 0 in. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And 4 times 3 is 12. And that's the answer to 421 multiplied by 30. Add the 2 lines together, you get 1,3,4,7,2. Now that answer is 1,000 times too big. So we've got to make it 1,000 times smaller. We take our decimal point 3 places over to the left. 1, 2, 3. So our answer is 13.472. And now for our final chapter, multiplication of decimals when you've got 4 decimal places. So here's our first calculation, 6.52 multiplied by 4.23. So that becomes 2 to the right, 2 to the right, 4 to the right. So now this means that our calculation, we have made it 10,000 times bigger. And this is what it looks like, 652 multiplied by 423. So you calculate this in the normal way. Feel free to pause this tutorial at any point because I'm going to go through this very quickly and show you the answer to each line. So there's your first line, your second line, and your third line. Add the 2 lines together and you get 275,796. Now you just now need to make that 10,000 times smaller. 10,000 has got 4 zeros in it, so just move your decimal point 4 places over to the left. There you go, that's 4 places. And your final answer is 27.5796. Let's look at one more. 2 to the right, 2 to the right is 4 to the right. That means we've made our calculation 10,000 times bigger. You're multiplying a 3-digit number by another 3-digit number. Now calculate this in the normal way. There's your first line, your second line, your third line. Add it together and you get 118,002. So you have to get your decimal point now and take that 4 places over to the left to make that answer 10,000 times smaller. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your final answer to 2.13 multiplied by 5.54 is 11.8002.